Hey guys, guess what? It's Angel and you're watching my latest video. I want to say hello to all my subscribers and to welcome any new subscribers. I want to say thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you're watching this and you haven't yet subscribed, I want to um, ask you to do that. You can do that really easily by clicking on the subscribe button, and then there will be a little bell that pops out. If you click on that, you'll be notified anytime I post a new video, which I try to post like once every, I'd love to post once every month, but it seems like it's coming once every 2 months, sometimes 3 months. So I try to get one up as often as I can. So with that being said, today I wanted to talk about change. Um, and change can be hard, especially with bipolar. That is my diagnosis. If you haven't watched my previous videos, I am diagnosed bipolar 1. Some of the other diagnoses that come along with that are social anxiety disorder and OCD, along with panic disorder, and I do have been diagnosed with PTSD. So there's a lot of that because I do have my mental illness, but then I also come along with some childhood trauma. So the two of those combined, and I've thought about, and at some point I may make a video dealing with the childhood trauma that I've experienced, not going into a lot of detail, but just kind of touching on it and talking a little bit about that. Comment below if you'd like me to make a video on that. And if I get enough comments on that, I will talk about that and do a video on that as it applies to my life, you know, modern day, current day, because it does still touch my life, and I still deal with it in therapy because there's a ripple effect. You don't just have childhood trauma and then have a few years of therapy and then everything's great and you go on with developed new coping skills. Your body still holds on to that trauma. It's depending on what kind of trauma it is, but trauma in general is something that your body kind of holds on to. So anyway, that's been my experience. So let me know if you'd like me to do a video on that, and I will definitely put something together and do that. Anyway, so that's a little bit about me. If you haven't watched my previous videos, I invite you to go back and do that. Some of them are a little bit lengthy, so be prepared for that, but they're out there. So if you haven't, those are available. Today, again, going back, I'd like to talk about change. In talking about bipolar, you would think, because of bipolar, like the mood shifts, we're dealing with change all the time. But because of that, change seems to be really hard outside of the mood shifts. And I'm not really sure why that is. I just know that it is. So for me, the reason I'm talking about this today is because there are some changes that may or may not be taking place in my family right now, and it's got me all all out of control. And so I was having a conversation with my therapist about it, and she suggested that I do a video in regards to change. So first of all, and let me just say too, if you've never watched my videos, and I address this in some of my videos, is that I'm talking about my experience. I'm not qualified in any way whatsoever to give counseling or anything like that. I don't have a degree. I'm not a doctor, a counselor, or a psychiatrist or psychologist. So please know that this is just me talking about my experience. So take that into account when you're watching my videos. So the way that I sort of deal with my bipolar is I live a very structured life, and a lot of my OCD kind of plays into this as well. But in the past, before I knew about my bipolar diagnosis, I was sort of all over the place. My moods were up and down because I wasn't medicated and I wasn't being treated for bipolar. I was being treated for anxiety and depression. I was on an antidepressant, and I've this is coming from medical doctors and psychiatrists have been told that antidepressants are not generally should be used for people with bipolar because they can spur mania. That's what was happening in my life, and I dealt with that for literally 12 years. I was on Paxil and I was on other medications, antidepressant medications, because I was being treated. They didn't know I had bipolar. They were only seeing, I was only going to the doctor when I felt bad. I was scheduling appointments when I was in depression lows. And so that's what I was being treated for. My doctors didn't see me when I was manic, because if I did have a doctor's appointment when I was manic, generally I was canceling them because I thought, oh, I feel great. Why would I go to the doctor when I feel great? So I went undiagnosed for years. And so I lived my life just all over the place. And so I didn't have a routine. I just, I was very volatile, to say the least. And then one day I had a new doctor. I had an appointment scheduled. I went in, I happened to be manic, and I just happened to keep that appointment, and that's how I got my diagnosis. After that, I was put on to a medication called Safras, and from that point on, I started my treatment for my bipolar and started my bipolar journey. And that's when I learned, to structure my day, and especially after my hospital stay. That was life-changing. My hospital stay was life-changing. When I learned, you get up in the morning, brush your teeth, get something to eat, or get ready for the day, get something to eat, make your bed, like things that you're supposed to do, and things that most people just do, not that I wasn't getting ready for my day and brushing my teeth. I was doing those things, but I was like kind of all over the place, it's hard to explain. And right now, to be honest, I'm having mixed moods, so I'm making this video because it's relevant right now in my life, and I want to talk about things when they're relevant, but my mind is sort of wandering, so I apologize for that. But when I learned, I guess what I'm trying to say is, when I was in the hospital, it changed my life because I learned how to structure my day, okay? And that set me up for success in managing my bipolar illness. That's what I wanted to say. Since then, that's how I've been living my life. And when change is thrown in there, it sets me off and can set me into an episode. And that's what I'm sort of dealing with right now, and trying my hardest to avoid. And I'm using my resources. Like I said, I talked to my counselor yesterday. I'll be seeing my psychiatrist on Monday. I'm trying to use my resources to manage my bipolar. And that's what we do, right? We work really, really hard to manage our illness. When change comes into our lives, it can throw us for a loop. And it's just part of life. So what can we do? That's the big question, is what do we do when change comes in? Yes, we see our counselors. Yes, we can see our psychiatrists. What are some other things that we can do? And I went online and I found this really great article. And so I wanted to hit some bullet points in the article, and I will be posting a link to the article in the description box below. So but I wanted to just, sorry, I'm getting old and you can see my light in the reflection on my glasses, so I apologize for that too. So when change happens, we get really, really stressed, okay? Really stressed. And people that don't have bipolar, they're going to experience stress too. But for people that have bipolar, our stress level it's hard to compare because I don't know what normal people experience. I only know from my point of view. Like, stress for me can send me over the edge to the point, for people with bipolar, it can put us into an episode where it could be like, depending on the life stress, the stressor, and the way we manage it. Sometimes it could be life or death, guys. And my stressor right now is not that, but I'm just saying it can be extreme, okay? So we've really got to manage it, and that's where meds come in, doctors come in, family support comes in. All of these things, they're really, really, really important in our lives. So, so we got to help control that. And this article gives some really great tips. So, controlling the stress, what can we do? And the tips, the first one is to control the stress. Ask for help at home. What are some stressors in our home that we can ask for help with? So that's one of the first ones. If we're working, and a lot of us that have bipolar don't work because just the stress of having a job and having to be there at a certain time every day, or even part-time, having to be there at a certain time, and then having to deal with the stress of a job is often too much. But if we are working, if we have a stressful job, look for a job that is less stressful. If that is an option for you, you should do that. You should look into that. Another way that we can control stress is through exercise. You can do yoga, you can do meditation. And if you've never done these before, YouTube is a great tool you can pull up yoga videos, you can pull up meditation videos that'll walk you through these things. And I would encourage you to do that. Or go to a yoga class. If you have that resource, do that. Okay, another one, this is important. Keep a regular schedule. My schedule is very, very regular, and it is that way by design, and it really needs to be that way. So eat your meals, do your errands, exercise, and go to bed at around the same time every single day. And mine is pretty much that. Because of my OCD, it goes to another level. Like, for me, everything has to be in a certain order. So, like, in the morning, I get up, I go to the bathroom, I go downstairs and eat, I, brush my teeth, then I put my contacts in, then I take a shower, then I, it's like everything is in a certain order every day. And at night, like, I take my contacts out, I brush my teeth, I put my PJs on, like it. And so it's just very regimented. And if anything is thrown off, it's okay, but I notice, like, it's like, wait a minute, something in my routine is different. So I have to backtrack and figure stuff out. That's part of my OCD. Not everybody deals with that. If you do, my heart goes out to you. I feel you. I get it. I get you. Okay. And I did a video on OCD. If you haven't watched that, you can go back and look at that. Okay. This one is really, really important. And they touch on this. And this one is stressed, overstressed. Can't be stressed enough by my psychiatrist with me. Healthy sleep. Not enough sleep in and of itself can be a trigger. Okay, we have got to get good sleep. Make sure, and this is what my psychiatrist says, make sure your room is set up for healthy sleep. So make sure it's dark enough, which is make sure your room is really dark. Make sure it's cool enough He says the best sleeping temperature is 68 to, I think he said 68 to 69 degrees, 70 degrees, somewhere around there. Quiet, and just make sure it's really comfortable for you to get a good night's sleep. Try to relax before bed, reading music, like, nice relaxing music. If taking a bath before bed relaxes you, you should do that. Things you should stay away from before you go to bed: staying up late to play video games, watch a movie, or surf the web. That's really hard for me. That's when I check my social media, is at night when I lay in bed, because that's like, it's quiet time. I can do it. I can comment on people's stuff, but that's like the wrong time to do it. So I have to really be careful with that. Some other tips on here: exercise. That's always one. That's always one that is stressed, is exercise. Also, to avoid caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant, so if you have anxiety disorder, anxiety issues, panic issues, like, you want to keep your heart rate, where it's supposed to be, at a normal pace. Caffeine is going to elevate it because it's a stimulant. So stay away from caffeine, alcohol, and obviously drugs. I mean, those are just stay away. Just stay away. And the last one that they list is to keep a journal. And the journal thing, that's another thing that's really hard for me. But the journal, I think, is important because you can keep track of big events. You can keep track of what you're eating, what you're drinking. You can keep track of your sleep and also your moods. Most psychiatrists, if you have bipolar, will give you a mood chart, and I have them. I don't use them. I should. But it just tracks your mood throughout the day, and I wish I knew a great way to utilize it. It's mostly because I just don't want to carry around a piece of paper with me all day. But mood charts, I know, can be effective, and I guess if it were in a journal form or something like that, if somebody wants to make a mood chart journal that you could carry around, a small one, or I guess if you just have a journal and you just write down your mood a couple times a day, that would be effective too. I don't know. Anyway, so those are some of the things that they list. Change is hard, but I know that it's something that can be managed. It's something I'm working on actively right now. And yeah, I don't know. That's just what I have. Let me know if there's something healthy that you do to help you deal with change. Comment that down below. Help us all out. Help out your community, because it's just something that happens in life. There's no way around it. It's just gonna happen. So anyway, I hope this video finds you well. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you have a great week. And until we talk again, bye.